Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits Podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is called Blood Upon the Snow. We're going to start with our shaker, and in there I have crushed ice. To that, we're going to add vodka, 1 ounce, crema de cacao, white, 1/2 ounce, triple sec, I'm using Cointreau, 1/2 ounce. Lemon juice from the plastic lemon. Half an ounce. Then we shake well. Next, we're going to pour it into a tall glass. Then we're going to add more crushed ice. Then we add 10 dashes pecades, bitters. I don't have those, but I have bitters. So let's try this. Oh, that should work. There you go, boys and girls. Blood upon the snow. Looks cool. Yeah. Very fruity, lemony, orange. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
You know it, and I know it. Family gatherings during the holidays can go all kinds of wrong. And that is definitely the case in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits Podcast, The Children. Sure, it starts off quite lovely, but cracks in the facade are seen almost immediately. Minor at first, family dynamics and such. But boy oh boy does this one take a turn. As parents, it's especially horrific to watch. What would you do if your little angels suddenly turned into murderous psychopaths? Of all your choices, and there are many, do not, I cannot emphasize this enough, follow them into the woods. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm just filled with the holiday spirit. How about you, Greg?
I'm filled with holiday spirits as well, Karen.
Excellent.
Not quite as much as last week, though. Thank goodness.
Yeah, well, not as much thirsty work going on, I'm guessing.
No, not this week, because today is Christmas, Karen, isn't it?
Pretty exciting.
If you're listening on Go Live Day, of course, we are not recording this Christmas or Christmas Eve for that matter, but do you have lots of big plans for the holiday, Karen?
Not really. We have a couple Polish traditions, but other than that, we're pretty mellow. How about yourself?
Yeah, us as well.
You have Polish traditions too?
Well, apparently, Karen.
Yes, you do, actually. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes we do. I think we missed the last couple years, though.
If you have the right friends, you get some Polish traditions.
All right, Karen. Was this film my choice?
This was your choice. What film did you choose? And please tell us why on this holiday you would choose such a film.
The film I have chosen, Karen, and I don't like your tone, is The Children from 2008. And I picked it because it's a Christmas movie, Karen.
It is.
Much like your film last week where you found it on a list, I found this on a list, but it was good
Christmas movies.
Horror films.
Yeah, I saw a different list last week.
Apparently. That much I remember. Yeah. The Children from 2008. A British production.
Definitely British. Do you have a drink to go with this movie?
I do, Karen. And I think it is fantastic.
It is a little creepy, Greg. I'm not going to lie. I don't know.
But for this film,
it's perfection.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, I agree. But I wanted to know before you describe this drink, did you see this movie before you picked it?
No, but of course, I read the synopsis and a brief plot summary. And I might have seen some stills as well from the film.
Okay, because it's perfection, as you said. I have to give you props.
Well, thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. The cocktail I've chosen is called Blood Upon the Snow. We're going to need vodka, triple sec, creme de cacao, white variety, lemon juice, and it lists the specific bitters, but I don't think it matters. Any bitters will work.
Yes, I agree.
Because I didn't have the Paycards or Paychards or whatever it is, bitters, but it looks fantastic.
It does.
So we're going to and we're going to need crushed ice, boys.
Very important.
Crushed, very important. I made my own in a blender.
Oh, I just smashed mine with a meat tenderizer.
Oh, you can do that too.
Bam! Had a little aggression to get out.
I looked it up and I found that if you put about 14 ounces of ice cubes in a blender and then pour water in it just to the top of the ice cubes and then pulse it for like a minute and then strain the water.
Wow.
Awesome.
Very scientific.
Yeah.
That is not the meat tenderizer version.
No, I went above and beyond this episode because I'm all filled with the holiday spirits.
Awesome.
All right, so we're going to, in our shaker with crushed ice, we're going to add the vodka, 1 ounce, a half an ounce triple sec. I used Cointreau, a half an ounce creme de cacao, and a half an ounce lemon juice. And then we're going to shake well. Then we're going to pour into a tall glass and add more crushed ice on top. So we basically can fill the ice with crushed ice, more or less.
Fill the cup with it, yeah.
Yeah. Then we top with 10 dashes of the bitters. And then we, I guess, enjoy it, Karen. After we stare at it for a while, I was like, oh my God, that is fantastic looking. Yes. It looks just like blood upon the snow.
That it does.
Yes, I'm pretty proud of this one. This might be
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you and yours. And
go make a bloody cocktail.
Hold on.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
It's red, Karen. I mean, it's festive
It's
colors.
You win, Greg. This might be the best pairing all year. I give it to you. It's
All year. I think it's my best pairing ever.
Well, maybe. I didn't have time to look back, but it's
No,
good.
but I'm sure I'll find another good one at some point if I looked.
You've set your bar high, though. See, you
I
need to stay
have.
low like I do.
All right, Karen. Might you have a brief synopsis for us of this film?
I do.
Go on, tell us all the story.
Two families gather at an upscale English estate in late December. Elaine and her sister Chloe, along with their husbands and children, are set for a weekend of family bonding and winter fun. But when they arrive, one of the children becomes sick, and all of the children exhibit strange behavior. The adults don't realize the disturbing truth until it's too late. The children have contracted a disease that has turned them into brutal, psychotic killers.
That's never good, Karen.
No, it is not.
That's a pretty good synopsis. That's one of our
My,
best synopsi.
we are on a roll.
It must be the holiday spirits at
It
work.
must, filling you with warmth and happiness.
Yes. All right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed about this film from 2008.
Well, first, I've never heard of this film.
I hadn't
And
either until I saw it on a list.
I'm assuming the only way you can watch it is through a Blu-ray.
DVD, Blu-ray.
DVD.
I'm assuming. I'm sure if you had like a subscription to, it might be on Shudder or, you may find it someplace like that, but it was not anywhere where we had access to.
All right, so I like this movie. It is creepy. I mean, it's well shot. It has that blue tone that gives you the coldness and almost death of winter, I would say. I would say it's a small cast, but I didn't know who anyone's name was in this whole thing. But I don't, that's one thing I didn't like. But there's some really good music and it's effectively used often. There's a couple of really good shots. It's just creepy. And it's one of those things where, and we've talked about it before, more in zombie films and stuff, but I always find these really difficult that you would have to believe that your child is doing these horrific things and then take them out if they are. And you and I have talked often about it, how easy it would be for you. And I've talked about how difficult it would be for me. I think I'd rather
It
just.
wouldn't be easy, Karen, but
I'm exaggerating, but I think that's part of the horror of it is not just the gore and that they are now killers, but as a parent, I think if you're a parent and you watch this film, it's a different film than if you're not a parent because the way the children turn and you have to understand that they're turning and there's some family dynamics. It's a complex movie. It's almost a thinker, but with gore. I thought the actors were really good, especially the kids. I called one of them the evil blonde from the very beginning because I didn't know what her name was. Hopefully, you'll guide me through that a little bit when we're talking about it. But I really liked it. I thought it was just really good all around. You could see, especially with family dynamics, and you don't have sibs, but everybody gets along. But then when they're on their own, they're complaining about the others, and they're bashing their mom, and the husbands aren't alike really at all, and it's just all family dynamics mixed in there too, which also like makes it a little more complex. There's all those relationships that you can see that they really love each other and they're having a great time, but there's some undercurrents here and there, and they took time to really explore a lot of family dynamics and things, I think. So I loved it. Anything you liked about it?
I really liked it as well. After I finished watching it, I said to myself, I can't wait for Karen to watch this. There are some nice shots. That's like the first thing I wrote. There's some really nice shots in this. I thought the acting was all good. Some of it was a little forced, but I'll get to that later. I agree with you all about the family dynamic stuff. You said whether you're a parent or not a parent, if you would watch it differently. And I would add, you would watch it differently if you were a parent
not a parent, and a step parent or a step parent.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's that whole
Yeah, there's
that
a whole
whole
other family
family
dynamic
dynamic
there.
going
Yeah.
on.
There's
And
layers here.
I agree with you about the siblings and things like that. I don't have siblings. My wife does. So I see that from my, different side, right? And
Yeah, you see love, but you also see personality because nobody is exactly the same as their sibling. And you love and even like them and get along with them, but there's always little issues come up.
yeah, I really liked it. I thought the effects were good. It's suspenseful. I don't think it's really gory. It's not really that gory.
They don't
There,
show
there
all of
are
it, but some of
a
it's
lot of
gory.
things happen off screen,
Yes.
but there are a couple graphic scenes. They're not long though.
No, and I wouldn't
A few
say
seconds.
sometimes we say we're not sure this is horror. This is horror.
Yes, this is horror. I would agree with that. I read somewhere that it kind of had an Omen feel, and I agree. It totally had an Omen feel, and I love the Omen.
It
But
also
it,
had a bit of a shining feel sometimes.
yes, yep, that as well.
There's one more thing that I did like too. If I didn't mention it earlier, there's definitely sequel potential here. And it's not explained, so you don't really know, but well, there's sequel potential in two different ways.
It's kind of a cliffhanger, I think, is what I would
A
call it.
little, but the way that the children are left in the forest, that's one path for a
True.
sequel. And then there's another path, which is the cliffhanger. So
There
I
is
like that too.
anything you didn't like, Karen? Anything at all?
I couldn't keep track of who was who, and they actually don't really make it clear what the names of all the kids are. I think it's not critical to understanding the story at all, but when you're trying to keep track, when you're taking notes, it's a nightmare. I don't think it's important, but it was confusing in that I didn't know who was who. And they don't really even use the adult names. Like I'm just like the one dad, the other dad, the hippie mom, the not hippie, the Chinese medicine dad. They don't say their names very often.
They do say them though.
Yes, but not, I
No.
couldn't keep track of who was who. But that's more on me than them. The only other thing that, and you probably won't be surprised by this at all, is something's happening to them, but there's no initial scene of witchcraft in the forest or aliens coming down and leaving something or some sort of origin story.
Government screw up.
Yeah, where the military left something in a tree or some origin story that gives us something to grasp onto instead of just this nebulous thing that happens. I want to see the evolution. Where'd it come from? That's pretty much it. There's enough gore. The effects are good. I just really don't have a lot of complaints about it. What did you not like?
I agree with you about the names. So anyone who listens regularly knows I have a little notepad and I write down all the character names from Wikipedia so I know what their names are as I'm watching it. But I don't know who they are, right? So I made little notes next to each person's name. Oh, she's the mom. Oh, he's the husband. Oh, she's the teenager. She's the little blonde girl. Oh, he's the sick boy. This is what I had written next to their names. Okay, she's the aunt. So
Yeah, I
I'm
call
calling
it,
mom, mom, and I'm calling aunt the whole time, even
but
though they're
there's
both
multiple
moms.
kids. Yeah, they're both moms.
Yeah.
And so I was calling the little boy Pukey Boy because he's the one that started it. So
And then for the other husband, I have uncle because he's married to the aunt. So the mom, who I called mom,
is
Elaine,
the
is the main
blonde.
character. Yeah, she's the blonde that you don't like, apparently.
No, I did not like her.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's not that. I was just trying to find ways to differentiate them in my notes.
And then I have one is asthma niece. That's what I called her because one of the first things we learned is that she has asthma. And
And I couldn't
then,
even tell originally whose kids were whose.
yeah, I know.
Like
Me
they
either.
didn't, I mean, they all got out of the car and I could have paid better attention. But once they all mixed together,
They
I'm like,
all mix
I don't,
together. They jump out of the car and they're all in one group then. And you're like, okay, what happened just now?
if
What
you looked
kid is that?
away,
What little girl is that? Because
yeah,
there's two little girls and two little boys, basically, right? And a teenager.
and the teenager.
I knew who the teenager was.
I
I kept
bet
track
you
of
did.
her.
So did the uncle.
We'll get to it, Karen. I kind of agree with you about you want to know the origin of what happened, but I wrote more. I would like more backstory, but not so much so on the origin of what happened. I wanted to know more about these two sisters and how they grew up and their mom and stuff like that, right?
You never want to know that
Well, I
stuff.
did. And then I wanted to know about aunt and uncle and what was their deal. What are they like independently wealthy now and not working at all? And do they like luck into something? Because there's like this whole thing going on in the background between the siblings and everything. I don't know. I wanted to know more about that.
That's fascinating because that's usually me.
I
I
know
could
it
get it.
is.
I could get enough from just watching.
Yeah, we get it, but I wanted to know more about it. It's all very in the first like 5 minutes, we get all this backstory, but only 5 minutes worth, and it's like all crammed into that space as they're, gathering at the sister's house for holidays.
It's a gorgeous house too. Makes me not want to go to an estate in the middle of nowhere with woods surrounding it, though.
That's all I have, really. Shockingly, I thought it was too short. I wanted more. It was 80 minutes, right? 82 minutes or something like that.
I think so.
And once again, Karen, this is one of those films where like 28 days later, why isn't this like why can't you just pull this up on Amazon Prime, Karen? I don't get it.
You're picking these films that we have to search for.
But they're good.
Yeah, it is shocking that they aren't available, especially this time of year for this film.
It's the holiday gift giving season. Who would not want a copy of The Children or want to curl up next to the fire and watch that with your siblings
Sibling.
and their significant others and your nieces and nephews? I don't know. But yeah, I don't really have much bad to say.
What did you say?
It felt rushed. It felt kind of rushed, other than
You
that. But
mentioned some stiff acting. Were you going to mention a certain person, or was there
yeah,
forced acting? You didn't say stiff. You said forced.
yeah, because, and that's what I was just saying, it felt rushed. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
why. 'Cause they were trying to get all this backstory in very quick. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
everything was really rushed, I felt like. It was hitting us with all this family dynamic and all the crazy stuff's going on in the background and whatnot. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. This cocktail's fantastic, though.
If you must say so
If I
yourself.
didn't already say that.
If you hadn't mentioned it,
All right. What kind of cocktail rating do you want to give this film?
it's a 4. It's a
Jesus
2.
Christ, Karen.
I think it's a 2.
I think so too. That means it only took us 2 cocktails to get through it. So that's pretty good, boys and
I was
girls.
thinking the only thing I thought you might mention is there isn't any nudity.
Uh,
Didn't need it, but there are places it could have
no,
been.
it could have been in there, but didn't really need it. On IMDb, it says there's some under nudity. They mention upskirt shots of the teenage daughter, and I didn't see any of that.
It's a, I don't know. I mean, she's in a very short skirt, so
She is, and I did make a note. Well, we'll get to it. I didn't mention it. She's nowhere near exploited. That's what I'll
no,
say.
no,
Yeah.
it's done because
She's a
the creep
teenager.
and the creepy uncle a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, but
I don't think there's anything there, but there's an undercurrent.
yeah, I know, but I don't know if we'll get into it or not, but I'm not sure.
It made
I
me
think they wanted us
uncomfortable.
to think there was,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure there was.
No, but there was, I don't think there was, but there's always that. It's not,
You
I don't
don't
want to
know.
get
You
too,
never know. You don't
go
know.
down the road too far, but there's always that little bit of exploitation, no matter what, as a teen girl that can happen in a way that's inappropriate. He shouldn't have given her whiskey. He shouldn't have been alone with her, looking at her tattoo. Like there's
Smoking pot and looking at her
Yeah.
tattoo.
yeah. I mean, it's inappropriate, but it's happened forever, so no one says anything.
Yeah.
So it made me uncomfortable, but it was supposed to.
Another way to look at it would be, well, he's just treating her like an adult.
Yeah, but she's definitely not one yet.
She's not.
And the wife came out quickly,
Yeah, it was.
knowing that.
I'm sure I'll get to it, but I'm sure there's something in my notes that he's a little creepy. All right.
Before we get into it scene by scene, Karen, would you like to hear a review from the time?
Am I going to be disappointed? Go on, Greg. Tell us a story.
All right. First, I have to tell you, this has a 75% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes,
That's all?
a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
5.9?
5.9. What do you think Google users think, Karen?
I'm going to say 86%.
75.
Wow.
I know. Got this information, but before I watched it. So now that I've watched it and I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, that seems really low
We must have been
for all of them.
in a mood. Maybe because the one we watched last week was so horrible, this one seems so much better.
I have 2 reviews, and I'm trying to pick which one to read. Some.
Pick the one in your right hand.
I don't know if I like that one or not.
Okay, then don't.
All right, I'm reading this one because I'm just skimming it. I'm seeing lots of good words.
Okay. Not that Greg picks the review he likes better when
No.
we do this.
I just find, no, I don't usually. So this was from Real Film. I think it's an online thing, a website from October 19th, 2009. And I believe it came out in October 2008. Though it gets off to a relatively bumpy start, The Children ultimately establish itself as a suspenseful, downright thrilling exercise in horror that benefits substantially from filmmaker Tom Shankland's endlessly inventive visual sensibilities. The movie follows 2 couples as they converge on a remote country house with their respective broods to celebrate the new year and Christmas, I would say. Chaos ensues as the children fall victim to a mysterious virus that essentially transformed them into viciously and surprisingly cunning murderers, with the remainder of the proceedings detailing the surviving adults' attempts at escaping from the increasingly perilous situation alive. There's little doubt that the promising setup is initially threatened by the proliferation of characters, as the convoluted nature of their relationships with one another proves a hindrance to one's efforts at wholeheartedly embracing the picture. It does, however, become increasingly easy to overlook such concerns as the storyline unfolds and the horrific things begin to occur with the progressively suspenseful environment perpetuated by Shankland's atmospheric directorial choices. As the filmmaker does a superb job of infusing the proceedings with a number of impressively sinister shots and interludes. An example, a fantastic overhead shot of a snowy crime scene, several Shining-inspired visual illusions, etc. The suspense-filled build-up ultimately gives way to a thoroughly enthralling third act that's capped off by a note-perfect conclusion, thus cementing The Children's place as a creepy and flat-out, indelible horror movie effort.
It's definitely creepy. And the shot he describes is my favorite, I think.
Mine too.
Yeah.
So apparently, most horror movie watchers don't want any of that family dynamic, and they don't want any of the backstory. They probably wanted this shorter, Karen.
Too much, yeah.
That could be 20 minutes shorter. We don't need all that family stuff. But I wanted more of that. So maybe it's because we're old, Karen. I don't know.
Well, I should say, speaking of old, we didn't mark it, but Greg had a birthday this month.
I did. Thank you for remembering, Karen.
He's not quite as old as me yet, though.
Not quite.
He's chasing me, but he just can't catch up.
I can never quite reach you. It seems like you're
All
always
I can say
way older.
I hope I stay way older. It'd be a shame if you passed me.
That's true. That would be a shame. I agree with that. But I don't want you to pass me either.
I already have.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't want you to get a bigger.
I've lapped you, baby.
I don't want to pass you either. That's what I should say. I don't want to pass you either. Yeah, I was all confused there for a second because I'm filled with the holiday spirits.
You just don't want me to get further ahead. That's all.
All right. Are you ready to get into it scene by scene, Karen?
Let's do it.
But before we do, Karen,
Oh,
we could not find this streaming anywhere, could we? That we
we
had
could
access
not.
to.
No.
So I ended up buying the DVD from Amazon, and it's not readily available there either. You had to buy like a used DVD, which I did, and I watched it, and then I mailed it to Karen, and she watched it.
That's how dedicated we are.
But it's so good, I want you people to watch it. So we're going to give that DVD away to the first person who emails us at info@scaryspirits.com with their name and address.
Awesome. You are feeling the holiday spirits, all
I
right.
am, Karen. I
You are
am.
a
I'm filled
giver.
with the holiday spirits, as I've said like 4 times now.
You are a giver, Greg. Just a
I am a
giver.
giver. I am a giver. God damn it.
What is happening to you? What is happening?
I don't know. I want more backstory. I want more family
I know.
dynamic. I'm giving away stuff.
Are you feverish? Go lay down.
Hopefully, I'll get over it, Karen.
I'm sure you will. It's a New Year's resolution, Greg.
All right. So let's get into it. Ready?
Yes.
The Children from 2008. It is rated R, boys and girls, for disturbing, bloody, violent content, terror, language, and brief drug use. Film begins. We have credits. And do we see the family driving in when the credits are going? Is this stuff going on?
I think so.
So we see a family visiting an aunt, Chloe. So that's the aunt's name, Chloe. But the teenage daughter, Casey, she wanted to go to a party.
Yeah, we see she's kind of not really goth, but a little goth, tiny bit.
A little goth. She's a teenager in
Yeah.
2008. So then we see the little boy, Paulie, and he gets sick, and they think he's car sick. He gets out and he starts vomiting, right? And then he slaps his dad, and his dad's name is Jonah.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
So then we cut to everyone inside drinking and smoking, Karen, is what I wrote. This is where we get all the family dynamic.
They're
Everybody's
opening
reconnecting.
presents. I wrote they're opening presents and trashing grandma. But yes, then they start drinking and smoking. And the one I call the inappropriate uncle mentions that they're going to do a naked snowball fight later.
Yeah, that would be Robbie. And then I wrote frog in the snow. Do we get a cut of a frog in the snow?
I said, is there something in the water? That's all. I couldn't see it. It was quick. I didn't, was it maybe vomit? Now that I think about it,
been.
you know,
It looked
that
like a frog
yellow,
to me for some reason.
but it was that yellow. I think it was the vomit.
It probably was, now that you
Yeah.
say that. And the next thing I have written is something's wrong with Paulie, the kid who got sick. He ain't right, Karen.
Yeah. And
Something
he's
wrong with
still
him.
coughing and
And
he's
then-
staring in the mirror. So there are a lot of mirror reflection type images that I don't really know what they mean, but
And then Uncle Robbie, who, what'd you call him? Creepy
the inappropriate uncle.
Inappropriate uncle. He gives Casey, the teenage daughter, some whiskey. But mom and dad are there and they don't seem to care. Elaine
I
and
would
Jonah,
guess she's probably about 16. Would you say?
16,
I don't know what the
17.
drinking age is in
England.
Britain.
It's
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Could be,
She can probably drink beer for sure.
but
They're not as not uptight as us, Karen.
the younger
The rest of the world
daughter-
is not near as uptight as the United States.
but the younger girl tells on her. I think her sister.
She's doing it in front of her.
I know,
all
but
sitting there.
her mom was out of the room, and when her mom came in, the little girl immediately, which is what siblings do. We also see a cat, which never makes me happy because that's never going to end well.
Next thing I have is Polly is scaring Leah, and she's the little girl with asthma.
Yeah. So also during the conversation, apparently Chloe and Robbie, like you said, they're like retired. They have all this time on their hands. And one of the ways we find that out is they've decided to homeschool their children. She mentions it because that's one of the things. Then the sister's like, well, what are your credentials for that? Like, you know, she doesn't have any. She doesn't care. They're very different in their dynamics. One's a little bit freewheeling. I called her the hippie sister. And the other one was a little more straight laced and, you know, but not really, but just it was a way for me to separate them when I was taking notes. But they're very, like her husband is the one giving the teenage daughter whiskey. The other parents don't say anything, but he's the one doing it. Right.
True.
And he's the one smoking pot or whatever. So they're a little more loosey goosey. Anyway.
Don't call me Uncle Robbie.
Right. The percentage of children in the United States, this is what I just did about homeschooling, but I only found stuff for the United States, varies by year and location. So in the 20 to 21 school year, this is taking out COVID. Okay. Department of Education estimates that 5.4% of students were homeschooled. And then in 2022-23, that went up to nearly 6%. The rates change across different states. So want to guess which state has the highest homeschooling rate at 12?
California.
No, 12.6%.
Oregon.
No, it's not those. They have excellent schools out there. It's Alaska.
Well, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it does make sense, right? Followed by Tennessee at 9% and West Virginia at 8.9%. The lowest rates are Rhode Island at 2.9, Massachusetts at 3.1, and New York at 3.2.
Okay.
And then factors that influence homeschooling include religion, legislation, attitudes toward alternative schooling, demographics, and culture. Alaska makes sense because there's a lot of spread out land there. So I'm guessing that's an essential.
A lot of Native Americans there.
True. So
then we see the kids are all going to bed and they're playing, but Polly stares off into space, I wrote, and Leah begins coughing, which isn't good. I'm thinking, that's not good. And is this where she wipes the mucus on her pillow?
Yes. And you see the dark stain. This is the only thing I like, the special effects of, say, that's bacteria in there or something, or even protozoan, or the way it was moving around. They didn't need to do that. I mean,
well, that comes later. I mean, we get a quick shot of it at one point.
But we get it, what that black smear is going to be.
So then Uncle Robbie takes Casey outside, the teenage daughter, where she can get some cell reception because she says she got no cell service. So he says, oh, you have to go outside. I'll take you. And she calls her friend and she gets her friend's voicemail. And then she thinks she hears the cat and she goes to investigate. But nothing ever happens from that.
Well, right? Later it does.
Cut to Aunt Chloe putting the bottles in the recycling. And I wrote, she got lots of bottles.
Clink, 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 clink.
That's like our house during COVID.
Yeah, well, or not.
It was worse during COVID, Karen.
Was it?
Yes.
I'm not saying your house. I'm just saying my house in general. There's a lot of clinking going on in the recycling bin.
Yeah, I remember my gift of a wife saying when COVID was going on, when she would walk the dog up and down the street on like trash day, she said,
"Oh, you mean everyone?" Yeah.
There's lots of bottles in the recycling bins. So then we cut to Elaine and Jonah, who are mom and dad, basically the main mom and dad.
Right before that, we get a shot that there's a doggy door in one of the doors.
There is.
And I thought, that's going to matter.
And then Elaine and Jonah are getting ready for bed. And throughout the whole family dynamic thing, we learn that Jonah is kind of he's a step parent to Casey. I don't know what happened. I don't know if mom was married before or what, but I don't think she was. But Jonah is not Casey's biological father.
Parent.
But the other two children are his. Right?
Yes.
We kind of picked that up.
And there's a little tension there.
Yeah, there is. But Elaine and Jonah make fun of Elaine's sister and her husband.
Just a little. Not.
Can you believe they're going to homeschool?
Well, or something. And then he also chides her because he brought up his Chinese medicine and she didn't let him finish. She said something and he was like, you shouldn't have cut me off. So not only are it's very conversational. It's not confrontational at all. There's not a lot of tension, but it's just what happens. You talk about people. But so this is it's to release your tension. You know, you have to be nice and everything. And then you get behind closed doors and you complain a little and then you're fine, right? They weren't really upset with anyone is all I'm trying to say. No one was angry or upset. No. So Jonah is very into the Chinese medicine. I don't know what his job is. I couldn't really figure it out, but just a very brief synopsis. that traditional Chinese medicine is a medical system that uses a variety of practices to treat diseases and promote well-being. It's based on the idea that the body's vital energy or qi flows through channels called meridians, and that illness occurs when the flow is blocked or unbalanced. Traditional Chinese medicine aims to restore balance between the opposing forces of yin and yang, which are believed to pervade the body and the universe. I will say that it's an alternative medical practice, draws from traditional medicine in China, and a lot of its claims are thought to be pseudoscience, with the majority of treatments having no robust evidence of effectiveness or logical mechanism of action. That doesn't mean it's not going to make you feel better, massage or what. I don't know a lot about it, but if things can make you feel better, but they're not proven to make you feel better. But he's very into it and has his files and all kinds of stuff.
Are meridians anything like midi-chlorians?
I don't know.
Yeah, Star Wars reference, boys and
girls. Oh, sorry.
And then Elaine is feeling frisky, Karen, apparently.
Yes, she is.
And this is the only place there's any suggested nudity, because she's in her bra and panties, and that's it, right? And there's suggested.
Which made me kind of laugh, because it's rare. If I would say I have never felt frisky after hanging out with my family. It's just not something you do in the same house, It's just.
Well, maybe she's into that kind of thing, Karen.
Maybe she is.
So then Aunt Chloe, we see her going to check on the kids, and we zoom in on the spot where Leah wiped the mucus from her cough in case we weren't sure that was important. And then we get a microscopic view of I don't know what they are, protozoans
or bacteria or something, little tiny
single cell organisms. I don't know. And then that cuts to a snow globe, which I thought was a pretty good transition.
Yes.
That's why I made a note of it. Then we see Polly, the sick little boy, looking at his mom and dad sleeping.
He's at the end of the bed staring at him. That can't be good.
Nope. Next morning, apparently, because the sun's coming up.
Everybody made it till the morning.
Everyone outside playing in the snow, and I wrote Polly's acting weird. Banging on his little xylophone or whatever it is.
Yes, he's playing his xylophone obsessively.
More like bells, but whatever.
Well, I called it a xylophone because we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
It's a baby xylophone.
It is.
But it is a toy completely. The one with the little colored metal things.
Yes, and they're metal. That's why they're bells and not a xylophone. But go on, Karen.
But it's a toy xylophone. And he's playing it obsessively. Like even his dad tries to make him stop, but he doesn't. He just keeps clanging on it. The xylophone likely originated in Southeast Asia. The word xylophone comes from the Greek words xylon and phone, which means wood and sound. The xylophone is made of wooden bars with resonators underneath. The bars are tuned
big, long tubes.
The bars are tuned to a pitch on a musical scale. The keys are usually arranged in 2 rows, similar to a piano.
They're always, well, I won't say always, but everyone I've seen is arranged that way.
The xylophone is played by striking the bars with mallets made of rubber, acrylic, or plastic. The xylophonist can create a single note by striking a bar or play a roll, a tremolo,
yes,
or glissando.
Okay, yeah.
It usually has the range of
That's like playing a half step, playing a roll on 2 different keys, but go on.
The xylophone typically has the range of 3 to 4 octaves. It became popular in Europe in the Middle Ages. The marimba is a close relative of the xylophone and is popular in Central and South America.
I like the marimba better.
Other instruments related to the xylophone include the glockenspiel and the vibraphone. In 1511, it was called wooden clatter and later a straw fiddle in Europe. There you go. More than you wanted to know about the xylophone.
Thank you, Karen.
Which you should have done because I don't know what any of that means, but whatever. You
did well. You did well. I filled in the spaces, I think. Marimba's a lower tone as well. So you got your bells, which are like the soprano. Yeah, you got the xylophone, which is like a alto. Vibraphone, I don't know. Tenor, maybe. Alto, I don't know. But marimba is basically is the bass.
You've just listened to half of this week's episode. Are you loving it? If so, can you do us a big favor and leave a review wherever you listen? Reviews help us grow the podcast. We just want to say thanks so much for your support. Now let's get back to the good stuff.
Moving on. Everyone's outside playing. Polly's acting weird. Then they begin sled riding. And Jonah tries to get Polly to stop banging on his bells. And we cut to Casey talking to one of her friends. And they're going to pick her up later.
Banging on his bells.
He's banging on his bells. That's what he's doing.
It just sounded funny. Trying to get him to stop him from banging on his bells. Okay.
That's what he's doing.
Yes, Casey's planning her escape on the phone. We also see the cat is missing. There's a shot of the collar. Jinxie is the cat's name. I know the cat's name.
And it's hanging in the tent, apparently, is what I wrote.
Yes, they have a tent in the snow. So they've got a bunch of toys
like a
out
play
there.
tent.
Yeah.
Casey goes to look for the cat. And then the kids begin coughing up blood, or at least Nikki does, I think. He's got like a toy gun.
He's got a chrome gun and he catches his reflection in it and he's staring at it. So earlier,
and he coughs and there's like a little...
Yeah. But there's lots of reflections in here that I'm sure mean something, but...
Then we cut to Elaine and Aunt Chloe making dinner.
Well, and so the uncle is appropriate again with the teen. They're wrestling in the snow before we cut to the kitchen.
No,
scene.
that's what I have next.
Well, no, I have it that they're doing that. And then the two sisters are complaining about their mom in the kitchen. And I guess their mom was not a good mother, is what they're saying.
Yeah, and they do say this is a second Christmas dinner, so we know this is in between Christmas and New Year's. So like the synopsis says, they're really celebrating kind of New Year's coming up, but it's post-Christmas, so they're having like a family Christmas in between Christmas and New Year's, right?
Yes.
And next I have Uncle Robbie wrestling with Casey in the snow. They play in the snow some more. Then we cut to Jonah talking to Robbie about viruses. And I'm like, is he trying to get him to invest in something?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out talking about the Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I don't know. Maybe. But he's not going to do that.
No. Then we see Polly pushes the sled down the hill, hitting Aunt Chloe in the back of the legs. And she falls.
Well, and what does she spill all over everybody?
Oh, I don't remember.
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
So we got hot chocolate stuff.
Oh, awesome. Hot chocolate.
Historians credit the Olmec civilization of southern Mexico as being the first to roast the fruit from the cacao tree, then grind it down and mix it with water and other ingredients.
There's cacao in our drink, Karen.
Yes. It's even better. See, it's getting even better. Archaeologists have discovered Olmec pottery with trace amounts of chocolate dating back to around 1700 BC. Hot chocolate was the source of a religious controversy, Greg.
Duh.
So as chocolate drinks became widely consumed during the 16th and 17th century, mainly amongst the moneyed class, a debate emerged. Was it drink or was it food? The distinction would dictate whether Europe's Roman Catholics could imbibe during religious fasting, which occurred numerous times throughout the year.
I could see where that would be a problem, Karen.
The argument went all the way to Pope Gregory, who declared that drinkable chocolate was fine to consume while fasting.
I agree.
Future popes would agree. Oh, you agree with the popes?
With Gregory.
The debate raged on, with many clerics banning chocolate drinks during fasting times. It does have some surprising health benefits. Now, not the packet mixes.
No.
That's processed chocolate and a lot of filler.
I would say nutritional benefits probably as well.
Yes. So the closer you get to actual chocolate, the better. Studies have linked antioxidants, which chocolate contains in abundance, to everything from cancer prevention to lower blood pressure. Chocolate also contains theobromine, which is a known mood elevator. Maybe you should have some of that sometime. Adding milk can also boost the drink's health benefits by adding calcium and vitamins added to the mix. There's one unfortunate thing, though, Greg. The claim that chocolate is an aphrodisiac is false.
Well, I was going to say, if I had any more mood lifting stuff, I'd be just crazy. I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
And the world's largest cup of hot chocolate ever made was 880 gallons in 2013 at Tampa Bay's Museum of Science and Industry. 300 local students worked with teachers to produce the pool-sized brew, which included 1,100 pounds of cocoa and 87 gallons of powdered milk. At the unveiling ceremony, kids shot marshmallows into the hot chocolate using homemade catapults.
So that's where I was immediately went to, Karen, when you said hot chocolate. Do you do marshmallows in your hot chocolate or no?
I do. I've even made my own marshmallows before to put in them.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Overachiever. Shocking.
I don't like your tone. My mom liked Martha Stewart, and Martha Stewart had a make your own marshmallow recipe. So my nieces and I decided we were going to make it. And those suckers, they were like these, you put them in a tray and they were like, you can't see, people can't see, but they were like 4 inches high. And like, they were huge, these huge marshmallow. You sat it in they were so delicious though. Anyway, that's all of hot chocolate is what she spills all over the Chinese medicine dad, and he's not happy about it. And I think the kids had drawn on his files too. There were all these pictures and they had defaced them. So you can see they're being naughty.
So then after Polly's pushes the sled and Aunt Chloe, Jonah spanks Polly, and Uncle Robbie says, "We don't hit kids here."
Yeah, no one's happy about that because he's going to town.
Then Aunt Chloe tells Miranda to look after the kids. So I guess Miranda is her daughter, the little blonde-haired girl.
Yeah.
But Miranda is freaked out by the younger children. So she's like, there's something not right with them, I think.
I couldn't tell if she was, it took me a while to figure out. At first, she was overwhelmed by all the noise and everything.
It makes me wonder if the older you are, the longer it takes you to get the virus or something, because that's the way it seems to go. Spoilers, boys and girls. But if you're listening now, you should know these are all spoilers. So then Casey finds Uncle Robbie in the greenhouse smoking marijuana, I think, Karen.
Okay, there is also, but right before that,
hand-rolled cigarette.
Leah is one of the little girls. She's a very beautiful little girl, putting on
with asthma.
Very fancy makeup, like professionally done makeup she's putting on. And I could tell that the dad and the teen had issues when they were out in the snow. There was something there. I don't know what, but we saw tension. But yeah, so then
between Jonah and Casey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's tension the whole film.
Yes, but two. So
the
she
stepdad and the stepdaughter.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, the little blonde girl is overwhelmed, yells at them to stop, and they all stare at her. Now we're in the greenhouse smoking a joint.
A hand-rolled cigarette, Karen.
Sorry.
But Uncle Robbie gives Casey some because she asked for it. She says, "It's not like I haven't done it before." And, so she's so experienced, but she can't hold her smoke, Karen.
So she's not experienced.
And then Uncle Robbie sees her tattoo, and she shows it to him, and it's a tattoo of a baby coming out of her belly button. And she says she's the abortion that got away because I guess mom wasn't married. I feel like mom was a pregnant teen. Yeah, teen mom.
But it's Chloe, right on her belly, and she's wearing kind of cut off shirt. So I don't know how her parents haven't seen it yet, but that's it. Yeah, don't tell mom and dad.
She always wears. Then Aunt Chloe comes in and says, "Hey, Uncle Robbie, it's time for you to carve the turkey."
Yeah, she comes in pretty quickly, knows where he is, and gets him out of trouble there.
And then we have another shot of the cat collar I wrote. We never do see the cat again, but
yes, we do.
Do we?
Yeah, it's dead in the little girl's lap at one point later.
Okay. So then we cut to dinner, and Leah starts having visions with knives.
She's under the table. Yeah.
And she grabs a knife, and they take it from her. And then Aunt Chloe sees the tattoo on Casey, and Mom makes Casey show it to her. And Uncle Robbie says he thinks it's cool, and I wrote, awkward.
I didn't know if she saw it there or she saw it in the greenhouse and just mentioned it, but she saw it in the dining room, or did she see it?
She mentioned it in the dining room.
Yeah, I think she saw it out in the greenhouse.
Okay. Well, the kind of man looked like she saw it because that's what I wrote.
Oh, maybe. And Casey's in a very short skirt and she was pulling it down in the greenhouse because her uncle was saying something sort of inappropriate and she was getting uncomfortable and pulling her skirt down. But yes, Leah's having visions under the table and they're not good ones. And then kind of all hell breaks loose and all the kids start crying.
Yep. I wrote, kids feel sick, they all start crying. And then Miranda hits her mom in the face, the aunt, and the kids scream. This is the second kid who's hit their parent in the
Is
face,
that her
slapped them.
parent? I thought it was her aunt, but maybe not because she was going
Oh,
to give
yeah,
her.
it is. It is her aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Elaine's kid. That's Elaine
Yeah.
and Jonah's kid. You're right.
She's trying to get her to eat peas. So she has a fork and she tries to make Miranda eat some peas because she's going to give her a gold star. And the mom's like, that's not going to work. And then she like stabs her with the fork, I think.
Yeah, but wasn't real clear what happened. Yeah, at first I thought, did she poke her eye out? But no, I mean,
I think she stabbed her with the fork.
Chloe is fine. I mean, she just like, she might have a little cut. But anyway, Jonah takes Miranda upstairs. Uncle Robbie takes the other kids outside.
Kind of diffuse the situation, takes them all outside.
And from the outside, we hear Miranda screaming from inside the house.
Yeah,
I didn't
she's
make a note
losing
of
her
that.
mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Aunt Chloe chastises Elaine, her sister, for bringing the sick kids to her house. So this is when the shit starts going to hell. Then Casey goes to make another call.
Yeah, she leaves all the kids with the uncle.
Then we have I wrote a montage. We got kids playing, a pinwheel, Miranda screaming, sled.
Xylophone.
Yeah. And then Uncle Robbie goes for a sled ride. Miranda vomits inside the house, I guess. Casey trips at the same time that Uncle Robbie like hits a garden tool on the sled or something, and the kids scream.
He's kind of scalped.
But this is kind of a neat scene too, because all this shit's happening and it's
Yeah.
kind of
There's
synchronized.
chaos. Yeah.
So then we see Uncle Robbie all bloody, I wrote. Kids run away.
Into the woods. They take off.
Aunt Chloe tells Elaine to take the kids inside, and I wrote, has Uncle Robbie been scalped? Because that's what it looked like. He's got like a flap. Elaine runs in, calls 911. Jonah tries to take care of the kids. And then Polly slices his dad with a knife, Jonah. And then the kids run away again. And apparently we cut to a scene where we learn that Uncle Robbie's gone. He gone. Aunt Chloe wants her kids all of a sudden. Now she learns her husband's dead. She's like, where's my babies? I want my babies. Elaine says she will get them. So Elaine begins looking for the kids in the woods, but then she meets Casey, and Casey confesses to Elaine, who was her mother, that she didn't see what happened and that she was going to meet her friends, but she decided to come back. So then Elaine says, I'm going to go be with Chloe. Look for the kids, tells Casey. Find the kids. And right here I wrote, isn't Casey cold in her mini skirt?
Yeah. There's a lot of times when people are in this movie that they should be cold and they're not. But
Maybe they're used to it.
the mom's in a tank top. I mean, she's got a coat, but it's never closed.
I know. And Casey's wearing a mini skirt and she's not really wearing a heavy coat or anything either.
No, she's got like a jean jacket and thigh high, like stockings and stuff. She's not dressed for the winter.
So then Casey gets a text from her friend asking where she is. So she missed her friends. And then she sees one of the children running through the woods, like out of the corner of her eye or something.
And yeah, and they're all running at superhero speed. You know, they're not running at
No.
normal speed. They're moving
We see
around.
her from her perception too.
But we see them running around. They're all moving quickly.
So she finds Leah, and we see other kids in the background behind Casey, like blurred out.
Yeah, I thought that was the end of Casey, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
And I wrote, Leah has a knife, question mark. And then Casey slips on some vomit, question mark.
Yeah.
This ain't going well for Casey. But then we cut to back in the house, and apparently Miranda's fine now, and she hugs her dad. And she seems to hide some marks on her arm, like some cuts on her arm or something. She pulls her sleeve down. Did you notice that?
I didn't.
Yeah, she does. She's hugging her. She like pulls her sleeve. There's like cuts on her arm. And she pulls her sleeve so Dad can't see him. And then Miranda says she is upset about Casey. She's pushing all the blame on Casey, Karen.
Yeah, she says it's all Casey's fault.
So then
The teenager.
Elaine takes her sister inside, leaving Uncle Robbie out in the snow. Leaves his body out there. Jonah calls the authorities, saying, "Where the hell are you at? You should have been here." But they said,
Oh,
"Oh, we're busy. We'll be there in an hour." Or
yeah.
their
Originally, it was
roads are
30
blocked or
minutes.
something.
Yeah.
Elaine goes back outside. This is the good shot right here,
Yeah. The
right?
shot. Yeah.
When there's bloody tracks in the snow, it looks like Uncle Robbie was dragged away, question mark. Nice
Yeah.
overhead shot. Because we have sled tracks and we have blood trail and it's like shot directly overhead. Like from a drone, probably.
In 2008,
Heck, yeah, probably cheaper than a crane. Getting
I
a crane
guess.
out there, but so then we see Leah giggling, or we hear Leah giggling, and Elaine opens the tent.
Well, it's a very tense scene because she sees that the body has been dragged into the tent and
And
she
she's following the
hears
blood trail, correct?
Leah giggling in there.
Yes.
And so it's very tense where she's scared. You can tell. She's like, why is this happening? Why would she have brought the body in there? And she goes to open the tent.
And just then, Paulie, who is her son, calls for her. He's on top of the monkey bars. So she goes to get him. And I wrote, is Paulie trying to get Elaine to come up on top? Because every time she gets close to him, he's yelling for help. But every time she gets close to him, he like
He
moves
moves
back more.
backwards. Yeah. And she's in some kitten heels boots, but she's still in heels.
I don't know what that is, but
It's a small heel, but she's in slippery boots, kind. She's not in snow boots. She's in fashion boots, kind of.
okay. So then Polly kicks her and she breaks her leg. She falls off the monkey
Yeah, she
bars.
falls backwards and gets her leg caught in the ladder, and I think she breaks her leg.
I do too. So then we have blood on the snow, Karen. Again, Casey finds Elaine, her mom, right? And
Mm-hmm.
takes her to the greenhouse and she begins locking them in. And Casey bandages her wound. And I wrote, Casey seems to know there's something going on,
She's
Karen.
getting it, yeah.
She's a quick study, apparently. And then rocks begin flying into the greenhouse, breaking the glass. I mean, shit goes south quick.
Yes. From here on out, the whole movie moves pretty quickly, but from here on out, it's like a race. It's a sprint now.
So then Polly comes crawling in through a broken glass window, and Elaine crawls towards him because she wants to, it's her kid. She wants to pull him in, but Casey tries to stop Polly. And then Casey grabs some scissors and she's like defending with scissors against Polly.
Yeah, the mom's trying to get to Polly because it's her baby,
Yeah.
and Casey knows what's going on. So Casey's trying to keep the mom from getting to the kid. So it's this all like this tug of war kind of thing. But then
Aunt
Polly,
Chloe comes out and looks for Leah in the tent. And at one point, Elaine tells somebody, don't let her look in the tent, right? Tells Casey, I guess. But Chloe finds her husband, Uncle Robbie, in there, and Leah's doll is stuffed in his abdomen, Karen.
yeah, it's weird.
So that's one little bit of gore. The scalp thing in this is the only thing of gore there is, I think. There's a little bit when we see her broken leg, but not much. So then while Chloe is in there, the kids begin tearing at the tent with a garden claw. I don't know what else to call it. It's like a garden claw. Casey runs out, grabs Aunt Chloe from the tent, and then Aunt Chloe runs into the house, locking Casey out. Casey just saved her ass, and she locked her out, Karen. Whatever. So then Paulie tries to stab his mom, but then
No, he
Casey,
tries to stab Casey somehow, and the mom pushes the smaller kid.
yeah,
Yeah, to save Casey. She pushes Polly. She doesn't mean for what happens to
right.
happen, but she pushes him away from her.
Yeah, Paulie tries to stab Casey. Mom pulls him down, and he is impaled
By the
on,
broken glass that
on something. Yeah.
from the rocks. It's a broken window that he goes down on.
Then Jonah comes in, Paulie's dad, and he tries to talk to Paulie, but Paulie gone. So then we see everyone back in the house.
Well, the dad is looking around at the scene
Jonah.
and he's blaming the mom for choosing Casey over his son, their son together. He immediately takes that route that it's because, apparently he doesn't get along with Casey. So he's furious that she did that. And the mom's traumatized.
Then we see everyone back in the house. Casey tells them that Elaine saved her from Polly. So her mom saved her.
But that doesn't help the situation.
No. And then Aunt Chloe shames Elaine, her sister, for killing her baby, her own child.
Yeah, you're worse than mom, she says.
Yeah. Aunt Chloe wants to go find the kids because her kids are still fucking missing, I guess, Karen. Casey tries to stop her, and then Jonah gets up and throws Casey across the room onto the couch. Next, I have adults start blaming each other. The family's falling apart, Karen.
Yep.
Jonah and Aunt Chloe go outside to look for the kids. Casey says she's not leaving her mom, Elaine. So Casey tries to tell her mom, Elaine, that she thinks the kids are sick. And we have a shot of Miranda here, and I wrote, she don't look so good.
No, she's looking bad.
Then we cut to Aunt Chloe and Jonah out in the woods looking for the kids because Robbie gone. And they find some of their belongings. Aunt Chloe blames Casey, and I wrote, Aunt Chloe is losing it.
Well, Aunt Chloe's having a bad day.
She is. We all are. Back at the house, Casey locking all the doors and windows, but Miranda's inside, and she don't look so good, I wrote again. So then Casey gives her mom Elaine a knife, and she takes Miranda to look for the phone. She wants to have her friends come and get them. And then we have a quick shot of a ceramic cat on its side by the
very
base
symbolic.
of the phone.
Yes.
So then Leah finds her mom, Chloe, in the woods, and I wrote, Leah don't look so good either.
No.
And
And there's like a sore behind her ear.
That's the next thing I have. Is there something behind her ear? Like there's like I don't know, a sore, like you said, or scar or something. There's something not right going on back there. Cut back to the house. Casey looks for Miranda. Then we cut back to the woods.
It's very choppy now. All of a sudden, we're at the house, we're in the woods, we're at the house, we're in the woods.
Aunt Chloe finds both her kids. She finds Leah and Nikki. Back at the house, Casey has followed Miranda to her room and she has the phone. Miranda has the phone.
And that's where the dead cat's in her lap.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah. At least that's what I thought it was.
Probably is.
But she like twists the phone and destroys the phone.
Outside, the kids attack their mom, Aunt Chloe. They pull her earring.
They pull her earrings out and it's not good. I don't know how they're holding her down, but they must have strength now.
I don't know. And then Leah stabs her mom right in the right eye. Or right in the eye.
With a pencil.
Then back in the house, Jonah comes in and he finds Casey on top of Miranda. And Joni tells Miranda to get out as he hits Casey. And Jonah locks Casey in the room. So dad saves his daughter, locks his stepdaughter in the room.
Because in between, so Miranda is evil, Casey's choking her, but as soon as Casey is off of her and Jonah throws her, Miranda's like, Daddy. Like there's this manipulation going on. She's not evil. She can switch back and forth.
Oh no, she's totally evil all the time.
Yes. I mean, but she's manipulating him by being able to pretend. And then all the kids do that.
Yes. Just like kids do, Karen.
Well, yes, they're all evil.
Manipulating. So then Miranda comes downstairs and says Casey was hurting her. She's like playing the victim here.
The innocent child, yeah.
And then Miranda goes up to Elaine and pulls the braces from her broken leg. And then I wrote, are Jonah and Miranda leaving? They're just going to leave everyone there, but that's what they do.
And he calls her his princess often. So we get the feeling that
they don't even get in their car. They get into, it's not the car they rode in, is it?
No, because their car's not as nice as, it's a Range Rover.
Yeah, although they have a Range Rover. I think they have a Volvo or something, but whatever. Yeah, a Volvo. They take the Aunt and Uncle's Range Rover.
Yeah, and they just leave.
And they just drive away. They pull away, and Casey watches from the window as they drive away.
And she thinks her mom's leaving. But what's funny is, as Americans,
I didn't get that, but
she's crying up there. She says, "Mom," because she thinks everybody's leaving.
That's true.
But the dad puts the daughter in the car and then walks around to what I would consider the wrong side of the car, right? Mm-hmm. Because we drive on the opposite side. But do you know why Brits drive on the left?
I do
You
not.
probably do. Really? I thought you might. Brits drive on the left because of historical reasons, primarily dating back to the time when most people rode horses and preferred to stay on the left side of the road to keep their dominant right hand free for defense against potential threats, like drawing a sword.
That makes sense.
This practice was later codified into law, especially as horse drawn carriages became common, with the driver sitting on the right to easily use a whip with their right hand. So there you go.
Then we cut back in the woods. Kids watch their mom, Chloe, bleed out. She gone. More blood on the snow, I wrote. I was really proud of my drink by now.
You're feeling good about yourself, are you?
Yeah. Back in the house, Casey sees Leah and Nikki outside. That's her two cousins. And she tries to bust down the door. And I wrote, why doesn't she just kick it in? She can get out of that room very easily, but whatever. So then Casey looks out the window and the kids are gone. They're here one moment, gone the next. Cut to Elaine trying to make it upstairs.
I think it's dawning on Elaine what might be happening at this point, because she goes over and locks the kitchen door because it's open, but the doggy door is still there.
Yeah, we get another shot of the doggy door. And Casey yells for her mom not to let her in, Elaine. Elaine sees the kids at the door and she locks it. And I wrote, there is a pet door, though.
A big one.
Yeah, so then Elaine pulls herself up the stairs some more. Then all of a sudden the kids are in the house. I guess they come in the pet doggy door. So Casey looks out the keyhole of the door and we see Elaine pulling herself up the stairs. And she has a fireplace poker with her, Karen. Elaine takes the fireplace poker and tries to bust the lock on the door to the room where Casey's locked in. But then the kids arrive, Leah and Nikki. Elaine tries to reason with them at first, and she sees Nikki holding his mother's earring with a bit of flesh on it.
Yes.
So then Elaine begins swinging the fireplace poker at them and tells them to stay away, but she asks very nicely. She says, please. Please stay away. Please stay away. And I wrote, Elaine can't bring herself to hurt the kids. Casey listens on the other side of the door. She yells at her mom, and then the kids begin to cut Elaine. But Elaine, she can't bring herself to hurt them.
She just gives up, yeah.
Even though she's already killed one of her own kids.
That was an accident.
Was it?
Yes.
She was trying to save Casey.
But she didn't know he would fall on glass. She just pushed him away.
Right.
Plus, she's in a lot of pain, about to pass out. She just gives up. She's just like, screw it.
So then Casey has Leah.
But they're trying, they're trying to put like some sort of voodoo doll in her belly or something. They're putting dolls in the bellies, and I don't really get that. Again, it would have been nice to know what that purpose was, but it's a homemade wooden like doll made out of twigs that they're going to cut open her belly and put in. There's a lot of pregnancy imagery. There's the tattoo, there's the baby doll in the dad's belly. Now they're going to cut her open and put a homemade doll in there. Not sure what that all means, but it's there.
Then Casey breaks through the door finally and impales Nikki on the piece of wood from the door.
Very quickly.
He gone. And then Casey has Leah at knife point, but Elaine stops her. Casey and Elaine get into the Volvo. So Casey and her mother get into the Volvo. They drive away. And I wrote, there's nothing on the radio apparently. Because there's
a couple
changing
times,
stations and shit. So this makes me wonder right now, is this shit going on everywhere?
Well, I don't know. But if
is
that was
every
happening,
child in the world gone nuts?
The radio fluctuation was happening in the kitchen.
Yep.
And I think somewhere else, and it's now happening in the car. They're not changing the station. It's just happening because it was happening in the kitchen and it was happening, I think, somewhere else in the house.
Okay. I thought they were changing.
I don't think they'd be worried about. They wouldn't be trying to get music on as they were leaving.
Well, they might be wanting to hear the news. Anything going on we should know about?
True.
So then they're driving away and they come upon the Range Rover that Jonah left with Miranda in. It's wrecked. Casey says she'll go check it out. Range Rover is crashed into a tree and the windshield is broken and bloody on the
driver's side.
And then Casey sees something in the snow.
Buried.
And apparently it's Jonah all bloody and buried in the snow, but he's still twitching.
He's still breathing. But this is the best, I think, use for your drink. Like the blood just starts coming into the crystallized snow. It looks exactly like the drink.
Does.
This was where I was extra impressed with you.
Then Miranda comes in the screen and she runs towards Casey. And Elaine, her mother, runs her over with the Volvo. She gone.
Smashes her between two cars. Yeah.
So now Elaine has killed both of her children with her husband, with her latest husband. I don't think she was married before. So Casey, her firstborn, is the only one left, right? I think
Yes.
it's interesting. Then Casey begins vomiting, Karen.
And I was like, uh-oh.
And I wrote, it don't look good for her. And then I wrote, she sees a boy in the woods, question mark.
Yeah, and that's not a boy that we recognize,
No,
right?
it's a totally different kid we've never seen before. And then there's more children in the woods all of a sudden.
Including
And
Casey's cousins.
yeah, and then Elaine sees them and she starts the car. And Casey tries to get in, but the door is locked. And
I
Elaine
thought
lets
the
her
mom,
in, but she kind of hesitates for a
she
second.
does hesitate.
But she lets her in, and they drive away. And then we see Leah, the little black-haired girl, watches as they drive away. And then as they're driving away, I wrote, I'm worried about Casey because
Yes.
she's not looking all that great in the passenger seat there.
Yeah, so there's double sequel potential. There's still all the kids that died were in the woods.
Yeah.
They're just there. And then
no, not the ones that died.
yeah, no, the boy was there.
Polly was there?
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
Or I know that, yeah.
Miranda wasn't there because she was.
She was recently killed. She'd probably
Yeah.
get up in a little bit. I think all of them.
But we never did see Leah get killed, and she was there for sure.
Yes. She was at the front, but I think the other ones were there.
Credits the end.
Because that's what freaked out the mom so bad.
So, Karen, could you kill both of your kids?
No, I would let them kill me. I would never be able to do it. They would have to kill me because I wouldn't want to do that. I would never be able to live with myself. I mean, why would I want to live at that point? Is what what do I have to offer once my kids have turned into monsters like that?
You still live a full life.
I don't think I could live with myself. That's part of the horror for me.
If you had no choice, you got no choice. So you're saying if it's you or the kids,
I might kill the kids, then kill me. Because I guess in the end, I wouldn't want them off killing other people. Right.
True.
So there is that point, but I wouldn't want to be around if I had to kill my kids.
Okay.
That's just me,
I'm sure most people probably fall on your side.
But I
it would
think
be difficult.
You would have to do it if they were going around killing people. That's going to be an issue.
Probably. All right, Karen, what'd you think of the snow or the blood on the snow cocktail?
I don't think it really went with the movie. No, it was good. To tell you the truth, I added a little bit of Sprite to mine. Just
probably would have been good
to mix up the flavor. It was a little too, as it waters down, it's fine. But at first it was a little too strong for me, but with all the ice in it. Yeah. It's just vodka, triple sec, and
lemon.
Else? Yeah. Oh yeah. Lemon. And I thought it was too strong,
but cream to cacao.
The ice melts, it was better. But at first I put a little Sprite in it. And it was delicious.
Sprite would have been good. I mean, my immediate reaction was, wow, this is really lemony.
Yes, I had a little bit of it was very lemony.
But it wasn't. I mean, I got the orange as well. It's just fruity. And you're just adding lemon lime soda or Sprite.
I did. It was good.
Imagine it would be. Probably make it more fizzy.
I mean, I tasted it. It's a little too strong. I had a little, but as the ice melts, it gets a little more dilute and it's better. And there's a lot of ice to melt in it. So either you have to drink it very quickly,
ice.
Or
mostly ice.
Yeah.
But it's good.
It's delicious. Yeah.
Anything we learned today, Karen?
We learned about homeschooling. We learned about how fantastic your drink went with the movie, why Brits drive on the left, xylophone info, and hot chocolate.
And Chinese medicine.
Look at me.
I know you said you weren't going to be able to bring much to this.
Oh, I pulled it out as usual.
You did. Look at you, overachiever. Shocking.
Okay. I don't like your tone. On Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Karen.
Merry Christmas, Greg.
I believe, Karen, next film is your choice. Are we ready to move on?
Yes,
New
it is.
Year's. New
It
Year's
is.
Day.
Well, then you'll be excited to hear that I've chosen the 1987 Bloody New Year.
Any reason you chose that film, Karen?
Well, I chose it because it's the new year.
Okay. Well,
But
we'll
I've
see.
heard rumors.
We'll see if it happens during the New Year.
I've heard rumors that it isn't really about the new year, but
Yeah. Well,
the title implies
it's
that
in there. It's in
it
there.
has something to do with it.
It has something to do with it, you know. People talk, you hear things, I guess. Do you have a cocktail?
You mean Greg says that doesn't have anything to do with New Year's? And I said, well, too bad. It's in the title. We're going with it.
The more I've read it, the more I think it's okay. It does, but go on. Do you have a cocktail?
I do. It's from food.com and it's called Smooth Sailing, which I don't think there's much of in this movie, but there is sailing and they probably wish it was smooth.
What are we going to need to make that?
Okay, you're going to blend together 1 ounce of vodka, half an ounce of schnapps, and 3 ounces of orange juice and pour it over ice. Float the grenadine on top and garnish with a slice of lime.
We're going to float the grenadine, Karen, or you going to be okay with that?
It never floats for me, but whatever.
It's very little, like a dash, right?
Yeah, it's a great drink, Greg. You can serve them at brunch or summer
I mean, you
parties.
floated bitters on this drink.
It's true, but they didn't get through the ice. There's some sailing in the movie, I think.
I don't know. I'm going to take your word for it. I guess that's all I can do.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it has nothing to do with it, and it's not on New Year. It'll be a banner choice for me in both directions.
Well, we all can't be winners, Karen.
It's true.
All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
I'd like to thank the listener. There's a lot of podcasts out there. We really appreciate when you spend time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Karen, I'm going to thank the band Verse 13 for providing all of the music in the Scary Spirits podcast. And I'm going to remind all our listeners out there that if you haven't already, email us at info@scaryspirits.com with your name and address, and we will send you our 1 copy if you're the first person to email us.
If you're the second person to email us, you can get some Scary Spirit stickers. Ooh. We got
so
stickers.
Full of the festive holiday spirits.
We give and we give.
All right, Karen. Anything else?
Well, Merry Christmas. And please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.